This gentleman wants to get a high and tight. Are you ready?
Yes.
How long have you been ready?
42 years.
That spot where it hung me up, is that where you got shot in the head?
Yes.
Okay, and you just want it down to nothing except for the top, right?
Yes.
Now, does him hurt or pinch?
Neither one.
Alright. How long have I been doing your hair?
Quite a while. You're about the only one I let do my hair.
And why is that?
Because I trust you. And I have trust issue with people cutting my hair.
Switch blades real quick. Because I want it to blend in. I don't want it to just stop. And it's, you know, be where the top is. If you're doing it high and tight, you want it to have a little blend right there at the edge. Yeah, I'm glad I looked right there. When you do it high and tight, you want to feel the bone. And use that ridge right there to where you blend it. And you would think that you couldn't blend from a 1 blade to a 000, but you can. Come over the edge of the bone and use your eyes. And it just blends right in. There's no line of demarcation there. I've seen a lot of high and tights where it's just shaved off and then there's hair. You don't want that. Just use your eyesight and it blends it right in. Sometimes you actually want to feel the bone. High and tight is not a complicated haircut by any means, but it can be difficult on certain people because of the hair growth, the direction in which the hair grows in, and sometimes makes it difficult to create that blend. That's why you want to turn it to where you can actually see what you're doing to make it blend. You better let them out, they're stuck in your pocket. It does take a little practice to blend with nothing but a bare blade. But you actually use the person's bone structure to do it. It's like the bone is your guide. So right here, if you can see it, there's just that little bit of hair that's bounced out, and all I'm doing is I'm following along the bone. Using the curve there in the occipital, and I'm watching and just letting it blend into the loin. And you don't have no stragglers sticking out, no line of demarcation. Just a smooth blend. And it may look like the blade is up against the skin, but it's not. The edge of this blade is riding on the bone, and all I'm doing is catching the little hairs that are sticking out. You can tell when you need to curve the blade down to where it hits the hair. You can actually see it. Again, I'm using a lighter background behind me so I can see the hair. And making that blend. Okay, just use your hands. You don't have to put the blade down to where it hits all the hair. Just catching these stragglers. What you're doing is you're using the bevel edge of the blade here to ride along the bone. And then you watch with your eyes, and when you see a straggler, then you can just curve the blade down to catch the straggler, and you don't cut into the hair. when you've done this long enough, you can learn how to put it on the top of the head and catch a straggler there and just run it down. You're not cutting any hair, but when you see one where there's a straggler, you just edge the blade over on the bevel and blend it in. Now on him, where his swirl is, everybody has a swirl on their head, or a place where their hair creates a natural part. It makes like a little turn and it creates a natural part. His is far back on his head, and his hair has a definite pattern here. And sometimes you have to cut in different directions to get all the little stragglers. But you always want to use a background where you can actually see what you're cutting. On the high and tight, of course, you want to come right along this parietal bone right here. Come up the temporal. This is the parietal. This is the occipital, and this is the occipital curve. You just kind of want to clean. Come right along that parietal through the temporal area and just clean. And if you got anything you need to blend in, just go ahead and, like I said, use the background. The lighter background, you can actually see what you're hitting and make that blend. Some people call it a fade. Well, it actually is a fade. But what you're doing is you're blending in hair length. This is a 000 blade, and I'm blending into a number 1, an 1/8 inch. Go back and kind of rock it back and forth. Clean it so you see a good blend. And there he be. Lovely. Thank God these are good, made out of good steel. Didn't hurt them. Don't help them when you drop them. But I clean after each use. And disinfect. The last thing I do on him is I do a neck shave. So he's getting ready to get some lather and a straight razor on his neck. And if you've not used a straight razor before, the best thing to do is practice. And how do you practice? Well, you can take an orange and if you can shave the dimples off without cutting the skin, then you can try it on real skin. Now on a neck, the nape area of a neck, if you leave the blade guard on, if you leave that blade guard on, you can shave a neck with no problem. You shouldn't cut nobody. But you should have a light touch. You shouldn't do it heavy or hard. It's not necessary. I, however, do not use the blade guard. I don't use a blade guard because I've been cutting since I was 14 years old. I have enough confidence in myself and from experience that I know what I'm doing. I know I have a light touch. I don't worry about nicking too much, though it does happen on occasion. But I've never nicked nobody enough to where they've bled. You might see a drop, but you don't see a profuse amount of blood, which with a straight razor you can, most definitely. I'll just take a washcloth. I set it here. Now he has a sideburn here, so I'm not changing that sideburn. All I'm doing is shaving the stragglies out around the edge of it. Since I didn't shave him to the skin, you always have a little bit of hair here by the ears, and you want to get rid of that because with the high and tight it's usually not very attractive to have that. And you want to go just to his natural hairline. You don't want to create a new hairline unless you're doing a type of cut that calls for one. And as he can tell you himself, I don't have a heavy hand. It's very light, a light touch. There's no pain. It's a smooth slide. Speak up, I'm talking to you.
I'm over here going to sleep because it's so light.
If you didn't know it was a straight razor, you wouldn't know it was there, would you?
No.
What does it feel like to you? It feels like different things to different people.
Feels like somebody's just taking their finger and just rubbing over it. That's how light it is. You can't even feel the blade.
Now there's no tugging or jerking or anything, is there?
No.
Alrighty, the sound y'all hear in the background is a small heater. This is an older house, so we try to keep everybody comfortable. We don't want nobody freezing in here. Now, in case you're wondering, because you don't see any. That's what comes off the neck. There is hair there. Don't let nobody fool you. If some people want to shave a neck just because they want to, they think it looks better. But if there's no hair there that needs to be removed, why bother? The only reason you should shave a neck is if you're shaping a neckline, designing the nape, or in his case, you're removing hair that needs to be removed. Cleanup is very simple. Rinse out the rag, it's hot water. Just wipe off the excess. Now, do you feel normal?
If you feel human.
Now, you brought some girlfriends to me before. What was the biggest surprise haircut you've seen one get?
It's been so long, it's kind of hard to remember.
You don't remember the one that gave you the biggest surprise? I don't remember her name, but she had dark hair and she went really short. That was a surprise to me. I didn't expect her to do that.
Okay, I remember which one you're talking about now, but I can't think of her name. But I know who you're talking about.
Now, I'm not shaving nothing. I'm just using a razor to pick up hair that didn't want to come off with the rag. And you see, there it is. You can use the razor to just pick hair up. Not shaving a thing, is it?
No.
Not that you can tell.
Right.
A person would not believe how much hair is on a person's neck. I've had one lady, I gave her a nape shave and her hair grew way down her neck. And she asked me what I was doing. I told her I was cleaning up. And she didn't think so. She said there can't be no hair there. So when I showed it to her, she was shocked. I showed her how much hair she had on her neck and she was like, oh my God. But I didn't leave that part in the video. Alrighty then. And here is a finished high and tight. And I was talking about the shape of a person's head and the spiral here. You can't just shave up into one. You have to have that blend. So if it looks like there's a little more hair in one place than another, it's not. It's because the bone structure. You have a little dip. You can't go in there and shave that out because then you'd have to go up even higher with the blend. It just looks, it's a shadow basically. It looks like there's hair there when it's the same length as the hair around it, but because of the dip it looks slightly darker. So you can feel it yourself and see if you feel anything out of place.
Nope.
Everything is where it should be, isn't it?
Yes.
You happy? righty, I thank you very much.
I got different ones.
Okay, this is a Babygirl. She's been a member of my family for quite some time. She's been with me for quite some years. She's a member of the family. Is that going to be too tight? That's okay? Alright, her hair is very thick, natural curly. Right now it's wet. What do you tell me when you come to get your hair cut?
Just experiment.
Just do what I do? Alrighty then.
No bangs, no sideburns in the feel.
Okay, explain the feel to everybody.
It feels good.
It starts at nothing and works up.
Yep.
Alright. And same thing every time.
Yep.
No bangs, no sideburns, the feel, and other than that, do what I want to do.
This thing I've been coming to you for 20 years.
Have I ever made you unhappy?
Once.
And which one was that one?
When you cut it really, really short.
That was when Tony's mom was giving me crap at one time, wasn't it?
Yep.
Well, that kind of made her stop, didn't it?
Yep.
So it wasn't a total loss, was it?
Nope.
Okay, I used the number 6 on the top. Chasing this with the 4. I don't know if you can tell it or not, but we just put some burgundy hair color on here. Some people wonder why I do it. If you're just going to cut it off. Well, sometimes there's a reason for it. And I'm not going to get into it. The fact is, she wanted it, so we did it. And I'm going to get this, looks like a blotch of color, but it's not, it's just wet hair. By the way, folks, when you miss a spot or there's a big patch of color in one place, it's called a holiday. Why? I don't know. That's just what they call it. And Babygirl's hair doesn't like to take color so well sometimes. Certain colors take better than others. This seemed to have taken pretty good. She has a regular cut that I give her. Her usual, we call it. We're breaking away just a little bit from the usual. very curly, very thick, and it gives her migraines. When she gets it short, she don't have migraines. So, I try to do what she says. When she says, do what you do and experiment, I try to do that. And I did find one right there. Alrighty, my dear. Get back what we were doing here. Okay. Alright, so she wants no sideburns, no bangs, and the feel. And for those of you who don't know what the feel is, it's a way of fading the nape. Starts at nothing. And it works up to the length, wherever the length may be. Hers is usually a 4, about a ½ inch. But you can work it up into any length. But you have to start this nape area at a nothing. You do a fade effect. I do a 4, a 2, and then a 1, and then I shave the neckline and do a design. this is a new cut for her. We've never done this one before, have we?
Mm-mm.
I'm trying to let her hair do what it wants to do here, and at the same time make it do the cut we're trying to get. So you kind of have to play with it just a little. I've had somebody ask, these are aluminum scissors. I don't even remember where I obtained them at, but they are aluminum, and they do a rather good job. I like them a lot. I use them. How do you know if a shear is a good enough shear for you to use if you don't use them? So I've been using them. And they seem to do what I want them to do, when I want them to do it. They're working out rather well. I'm wearing a t-shirt today because we were doing hair color. And I just didn't feel like messing up a good looking shirt. I really didn't want to mess up a good shirt. So, t-shirt it is. I don't dress fancy anyway, as a lot of you have noticed. This is not a salon, it's my home. I'm doing hair in my home because I didn't want to lose my leg to diabetes and lupus anticoagulant. It causes blood clots to form in my legs, and I was advised that had I kept doing hair, I was going to lose the leg. But I have found that that's not exactly the case. As long as I don't do hair in a salon setting where I'm standing so much, then this works out rather well because I can always pause the video and sit down if I need to. But I don't do enough hair here at the home to have to sit down that much. And as you've heard, most of the people that I do, you know when they're new. The boyfriend-girlfriend haircut were new. But most of the people I do is people that I know and know me. They know what I do, they like what I do, and they come back time and time again. And some of you have been asking about Buttercup. She may be back pretty soon.
I've been coming to you for 20 years.
Yeah. Ever since you started living with me, huh?
I won't trust nobody but you.
Been a long time ago, ain't it? Okay, now we're going to start coming back with the clippers. said with the four. Just to kind of blend that in right there. She has some stubborn places, so we have to fight with them just a little. I'll drop down to a number 2 blade. The 4 blade, this is the Ulster 76, Classic 76. And the 4 blade, I know you can't see it, but it's a 3 3/4 and a half inch. This comes with a full set of guards. But I think the blade itself does a better job. You don't get hung up in any hair. And the contact actually has a better feel to it, doesn't it? I see I'm using her bone, and you see it's coming right off of the bone there. You can see the hair feeding in, and then as it gets to bone, it just comes straight up. I use the bone structure to give me my blend, the fade. And this is kind of a Pixie Fade, which is one she's never had before. There's been a gentleman who said he has 5 daughters, and they all want me to do their hair. If he's watching, I've tried to make contact. It would be an honor to do whatever these young ladies would like to have done. Try to keep up on some of the newer trends so that younger people don't have a problem coming. I have several pictures and videos of different types of cuts, and when I was working in the salon, I got my waiting list by taking 2 and 3 different cuts and combining certain aspects of those cuts to make something new, something no one else had. I've done it many times with great success. As a matter of fact, her nieces have had that experience. and enjoyed it at first, but have gotten to the point where they're letting their hair grow right now. Otherwise, I would try to have those two here for some demo cuts to show what some of the newer cuts that the younger ones are liking. Now I pull up a little bit on the skin so as you hit that bone, it doesn't go too far over with the blend. And she can tell you, you can actually feel the bone there, can't you? Mm-hmm. This is where the feel portion of the haircut comes in at, because it's actually a fade where her feel is up higher than normal, and it's blending in to this pixie on the top, a very short pixie. It's not an extreme pixie, we're calling it a Pixie Fade. Every time she gets these haircuts, she gets quite a few compliments. Both good and bad. Some people don't like her with short hair. But that doesn't bother you a bit, does it?
No.
You do what you do, right?
Yep.
That's why she comes to me, because I know how she is. I know what she wants, and I don't have a problem with giving her what she wants, the way she likes it. Now, does this hurt in any way?
No.
Some women look at this and they think that from the way they see it and the way it looks, that it may hurt. But it actually has a rather pleasant feeling, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. I've asked some people to describe it, and they really can't describe it. Do you have any way to describe this?
No.
It just feels good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
She happens to be one of the people that was around at the time when the field got its name. A young lady named Margaret, I call her Margie, some people call her Maggie. But her sister brought her, and she had rather long, natural, curly hair. And when she was at the house, she saw me doing somebody else's hair, and she said, just cut mine off. And I said, are you sure? She said, yeah, do whatever you want to do. So she was the first one I actually did the feel on, because the growth pattern on her neck, the way her hair was growing, it was making it rather difficult to blend, so I had to take it short enough for it to blend. And not only did she love it, her husband loved it. And when she came back to have it trimmed up, she said, I want the feel. And I said, what do you mean? She said, my husband wouldn't stop feeling my neck. Why don't you do that again? So that's how it got its name. Her husband husband wouldn't stop feeling it. As you can see on my little sweetheart here, this is a number 1, an 1/8 inch cut. And the Ulster is a 1A. And I'm a fan of wall, and all the guards for this also fit the wall clippers. And this is a number 1, an 1/8 inch. And if you're going to use wall clippers, that's what you use, is a 1. And to make this blend, to get the feel, you have to use the bone structure. If you don't use the bone structure, it won't blend right. You want to bring it right to the bottom of the tube. Alrighty. And now, because her feel is up higher, this is a 000. And what I'm doing here, I'm coming down below the hairline where there's nothing. And with her head leaned down like this, I'm very carefully bringing it up right to that first ridge there. Same thing like you do with the bone. You let it come up, you let it chew away until the hair stops feeding in. And it does that right at a certain point on its own, because you're following the shape of the lady's head. Very clean. Now I'm going to come back with a 30-second and blend it in so there's no line. As she said, no sideburns. And you just feed it right up to the edge. No sideburn. And then I'm sort of almost doing a touch-up, a line, lining her out on the front there to get rid of the little pieces right at the edge in the front. No sideburns. Doing that cleanup right just around the ear there. This is not the shortest haircut she's ever had. Excuse me. She actually took the clippers and took it all off, didn't you? And folks, you would not believe how pretty this young lady was with no hair. Now, a lot of women out there have no idea how pretty they would be with no hair, or with a lot less hair. Sometimes hair hides the features, and sometimes those features are the best part of a woman's face. That's what brings out her beauty, what creates it to begin with. And now, as I said, this is a 1/32 inch cut. And what you do is just sort of rock it right there on the edge of the line. And you see, it breaks that line out and makes it fade. I've heard barbers complain. I was never trained as a barber, by the way. Barbers complain, oh, well, you can't do a proper fade with guards. Well, yes, you can. You just have to rock it out to make the fade blend. Because you're seeing it being done, folks. If you know your equipment, then you can do almost any cut. Any cut. But the trick is to know your equipment. And some barbers don't like using them, which I can't blame them because they have a talent, a great talent. And I don't knock on barbers at all. Never have, never will. But if the barber has a closed mind, it makes it a little difficult. I do not knock any barber's talent whatsoever. Some of them have a very great talent, freehand clipper cutting, which you've seen me do as well. But for a barber to knock on a person who either doesn't do it their way or see it their way, to me is a closed-minded issue. Seems to be a personal problem. I don't have that problem. I don't keep my mind closed. I keep my mind open to several possibilities, several methods. I've watched many videos and actually improved my cutting by attempting to incorporate other people's techniques into my own. I don't try to steal a technique. I try to use what I know, how I know it, but I keep my mind open as to another technique, and I've learned things over the years doing that. Many things. And one of the things I've learned is that you should never close your mind to someone else's techniques or opinion or cutting, a form of cutting, a technique, something you're not used to or you don't like, still don't close your mind to it. Because something is different doesn't make it bad or wrong, it's just different. And I like different. There's a lot of cuts that would have never came about had it not been for someone having a different vision, point of view, an idea, a simple thought. It takes all kinds to make the world go around. And sometimes the simplest idea is maybe not the best, but it's something different, something cool, it's unique, and it works out. Just like any idea, something new, there's going to be people that like it and people that don't. But never close your mind to something new or different. How many ideas would have been left in the dirt throughout time, had everybody had the same opinion? Leonardo da Vinci would never have prospered had everyone had the same opinion. Galileo the church had issues with him. But all that's changed because in time things were proved that he was not such a nutcase or a heretic, but he was right. And when enough people see that, things change. And it's sometimes it's bad to think that it takes that type of action or reaction for things to change, certain things. That has nothing to do with hairdressing, but I thought it was interesting. Something to pass along, that sometimes it's merely a mindset, a difference in opinion that can hold things back or shoot an idea forward. And what I do, I try to help women in this community with funds they can't get from anywhere else by giving them haircuts that nobody else has, and they get to pick them. They get to pick them. I don't choose them for them. But some, like single mothers, women out of work, you don't want people like that living on the street just because they're having hard times. I try to help as much as I can. I live on a fixed income myself, so I depend on whatever people can support me with, and some have. Many people are very grateful for the support they get. But it's rather difficult at times. I'm not going to sit here and hold my hand out and ask for people to support my channel with fan funding. That's what it's there for, but I don't think I should have to. If people watch my channel They see what I do and they hear what I say. And they see the people who come and do this. You know, they pretty much get the gist of the idea. They know what's going on. I do this as a way to pass on knowledge, cutting techniques to a new generation. It's, I don't consider myself to be special, talented above anyone else. But I do try to help those that I can help. Does it feel okay?
Mm-hmm.
As this lady here can tell you, even when I was working in the salon and people would come to my house and wait on me to get home from work, I didn't charge them much because where we lived people didn't make much. I never tried to make a big living at this. I've never considered myself, tried to put myself on a pedestal above anybody. Excuse me. I'll edit that out. I've always tried to give people what they asked for, to do the things that they wanted done. Sometimes I've been very surprised, and sometimes I've not been surprised at all. A couple times I was downright shocked. I had a man bring over his daughter with very long hair, and I thought he just wanted it trimmed, and I started to just trim the ends of it. And he said, no, I want it short. And he showed me a picture. And he wasn't kidding, it was short. And when I got done, I showed the young lady the mirror of herself. And to my surprise, instead of crying, she grinned from ear to ear. So apparently, Mom had been a bit rough with her about her hair, probably brushing it, pulling it tight in ponytails and such. And she must have told her dad she wanted it cut, and he brought her and he got it cut. I feel like I got it all off of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Pixie Fade. Let's see. I'm going to try to give it a little bit of oomph anyway. So this is our version of a Pixie Fade. And you can see how short the top is. You watched it being done. As you can see, no bangs. This is a widow's peak, what some people refer to as an eddy.
I do not have an eddy.
we try to help her. What do you think of this one?
Mm-hmm. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, what is that right there?
Huh?
What is that right there?
Yeah,
Like
see
a
it?
pimple?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just a little bump.
I'm good.
You're good. You like it?
Yep.
Different.
Yeah.
Something you've never had before.
Yeah.
Okay, let me turn you around so everybody can see. You can see this does start at nothing here. It fades up to the 1/2 inch here in the crown. And we blend in the pixie top. Goes all the way around with the fade. And you like.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Wave bye to everybody.